Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Professor Hassan and you are watching my channel Professor Hassan Hamayu. Final session lecturer statistics preparation lecture number 2. Today the topic is index numbers. Dear students, I will discuss today 73 important questions which are compulsory, essential and obligatory for that written test which is going to be held after 15 to 20 days by Ppsc. Before starting today's vital lecture, I request everyone don't miss a single MCQ because that can be the part of that written test. Let's start. Question number 1 is index numbers. Dear students, first of all I will tell you what is index number. Index number is a statistical measure of average change in one or more than one variables with respect to time and space. For example, if we are interested in the salary, in the wage of a worker in 2021 it was, for example, 1000, and in 2022 it is 1200 rupees. Now we will have to find out the index number, which will be price of the new year 1200 over price of the old year, which is 1000, multiplied by 100, and if you solve it the answer will be 120. Now this answer indicates two things. It is indicating that there is an increase of 20% in the wage, in the salary of a worker. One meaning is that, and the second meaning is that suppose there was the wage 100 in the previous year, which can be called the base year. Now the new year, current year wage will be 120. There are two meanings of index numbers. The one is there is an increase of 20% in the wage, in the price, in the quantity it can be. And the second meaning is that if in the last year the wage was 100, now in the current year, in the new year, the wage, the salary of the worker is 120 rupees. A very important one. Next question is, how many types of index numbers? There are main two types of index numbers. Two types. One is simple index number. Second is composite index number. Whenever we calculate the index number, the measure, we want to measure the statistical measure change in one variable. Whenever we are interested to measure the change in one variable, then we are talking about the simple index number. And whenever we are taking interest in two or more variables, we want to measure the change in two or more variables, we are interested in composite index numbers. A very important question. Next one is, composite index number has two types. As I told you, in composite we are interested to measure the change in two or more than two variables. It has two types. The first one is unweighted index number and the second one is weighted index numbers. In unweighted index number we have two types. The first is simple aggregative method. Whenever we are interested in two or more than two variables, we move towards unweighted and weighted. And what is the difference between these two? When all the items, when all the commodities have equal importance, a very important MCQ, then we are talking about unweighted, and it is calculated by simple aggregative method and simple average of price relatives method. And one more MCQ I will give you. Simple aggregative method is superior to simple aggregative method. Now I will have to brief these two also. And dear students, when weighted is used, a very important MCQ, whenever all the items, all the commodities are not of equal importance, then we move towards weighted. We give weights to all the commodities, to all the items. For example, salt and oil are not of equal importance, then we give the weights to them and we move towards the weighted. Both are composite. In both we are interested in two or more than two variables. Now I will give you more important MCQs for simple aggregative method. As I told you, unweighted has two types. It is the type of composite and unweighted has two types. The first one is simple aggregative. And what do we do in simple aggregative? The price index number is equal to summation Pn over summation P naught multiplied by 100. It has two disadvantages. The first one is that it does not consider the relative change. Actually, what do we do in price index number? For example, we have years 90, 90, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, and if this is the base year, for example 110, 120, 130, 140, what do we do? Actually, this is 100 for price relatives, then 110 over 100 multiply by 100, and for 120, if we are changing the base, that will be 110 multiplied by 100. We are considering the relative change in index numbers. This is divided by this much, this divided by this much, this divided by this much. It is called relative change. But in simple aggregative, that is the drawback of simple aggregative, we sum all the prices of the new year and then we divide the sum of the prices of the old year. This is the drawback. We are not considering the relative change one by one. It is the first drawback. And the second drawback is that, for example, we have the items, a very important MCQ. Rice is given, it is in kg. Sugar is given, it is also in kg. And milk is given, it is in liters. That question can be asked in the paper, which will be held after 15 to 20 days. Whenever all the household items, all the commodities are not of equal unit, there are the different in the units, then the simple aggregative method is not suitable. It is not suitable. It is suitable when all the items have same unit. All are very important questions. What did you learn? First of all, index number measures the statistical or a change in one or more variables according to the time period. Then index number has two types: simple index number and composite index number. In simple index number, we are interested in one variable. In composite index numbers, we are interested in two or more than two variables. And then composite has two types. One is unweighted, when all the items have equal importance, then it is unweighted. And what is weighted? When all the items do not have the equal importance, then we move towards weighted index number. And then unweighted has two types: simple aggregative method, which is summation Pn over summation P naught multiplied by 100. Then the second one is average of relative index numbers. And what is the drawback of simple aggregative method? There are two disadvantages. It does not consider the relative change. It does not divide every value with the preceding one. Second one is that if all the units are not same for the commodities, then it is not suitable to calculate simple aggregative index number. It is suitable whenever we have the same units, kilogram, 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 for all the household items. And then for weighted index numbers we have. And one more thing I will tell you, the second method of unweighted is simple average of price relatives. The formula is 1 over k, the total number of commodities, summation Pn over P naught multiplied by 100. And what do we do actually in this much? It is called simple average. And the drawback is that it has upward bias, because mean, arithmetic mean, it is arithmetic mean actually. It is not suitable in index numbers, ratios or percentages. Geometric mean is suitable, so it has upward bias. It has also the drawback. Then the next one is weighted arithmetic mean, weighted index numbers, weighted index numbers. As I told you, weighted index numbers are used whenever all the items are not of equal importance. Then we move towards weighted index numbers. And Naspers index number, Ppsc, Fisher, Marshall, these all are weighted index numbers. Then a very important question, CPI. It is also called cost of living index number. In our houses, we want to make the budget. We want to check the increase in the price of the household items, we use CPI, and it is also called cost of living index number. It is also called the retailer price index number. Retailer price index number. And in CPI, we take the data from retailers. And one more important question, a very important MCQ, CPI is always weighted index number. CPI is always weighted index number. All the commodities do not have equal importance in CPI. Then a very important question, quantity index number. What is quantity index number? We have discussed price index number. Whenever we want to check the change, the average change in the price of the household items according to the time, it is price index number. And in quantity index number, we want to check the change, the average change in the quantity of the items according to the time period. It is quantity index number, and it is also called quantum index number. It is also called volume index number. Next question is time reversal test. Many questions can be asked from this one. Its equation is P naught n multiplied by P n naught is equal to 1. First question is this much. It is satisfied by Marshall. It is satisfied by Fisher. And number 4 question is, it is used for only 2 years. And next question is, it is used for 2 years and its extension is circular test. And in time reversal test, we change the time actually. We change the base. We shift you can say, change you can say, we shift the base. For example, P naught n, in that much, naught is the base period, n is the current year. In P n naught, n is the base year now, we have shifted the base, and O is the current year now, naught is the current year. What did you learn? Time reversal is satisfied by Marshall as well as Fisher. Its equation is P naught n multiply P n naught is equal to 1. In that test, we use 2 years only, and in that test, we shift the bases only. A very important question. Now, factor reversal test. Its equation is P naught n multiplied by Q naught n is equal to V naught n, which is value index number. First question is this much, and second is P naught n multiplied Q naught n. It can be asked, it is summation Pn Qn over summation P naught Q naught. And the third question is, in factor reversal test, it is satisfied by Fisher only. A very important one. And next question is, as I told you, in time reversal test, we shift the base, and in factor reversal test, we shift the weights. We shift the weights. If you notice, it is price index number and it is quantity index number. We have just changed the weights. A very important one. Next question is circular test. It has many important questions. Number 1, P naught PAB multiply PBC multiply PCA is equal to 1. Number 2 is at least 3 years. In time reversal, we need 2 years. In circular test, we need at least 3 years. You can just count 1, 2, and 3. And we shift the base. Like time reversal, we shift the base. Number 4, it is the extension of time reversal. Number 5, it is satisfied by Cayley's index number. Not Fisher, not Marshall. It is satisfied by Cayley's index number. A very important question. Then, a very important question, last year index number has upward bias and that is a very important question for the interview also. Inshallah, I will discuss in the interview also. Last bit index number is summation Pn Q naught over summation P naught Q naught multiplied by 100. The question of interview is why last pair has upward bias. Actually, in the numerator we are multiplying new price with old quantity, that creates upward bias. In the denominator we have old price with old quantity, that is suitable, that is good, but in numerator we have the problem, that's why it has upward bias. And Ppsc has downward bias. And interview question is very important. Why Ppsc has downward bias? Actually, Ppsc index number is summation Pn Qn over summation P naught Qn multiplied by 100. It controls the numerator. Multiply new price with new quantity, it's okay, but in denominator we are multiplying old price with new quantity, that creates downward bias in the denominator because of the denominator. And value index number, it has no bias. And the question of interview is very important. Why value index number does not have any bias? Because its formula is summation Pn Qn over summation P naught Q naught multiplied by 100. New price with new quantity, old price with old quantity, it's good one. That's why it has no bias. In fixed base method, base period should be a normal period. Next question is, for CPI we use the formula of the base year weighted. Very important. Actually, Lespier's formula. CPI is obtained by the Lespier's formula. Next question is, for chain index number we compute link relatives. Next, base year quantities are used as weights in Lespier. What is the formula of Lespier? Summation Pn Q naught over summation P naught Q naught multiplied by 100. Just consider the formula, then you will understand this thing. The statement is base year quantities, this is base year quantities, are used as weights in Lespier's formula, and in Ppsc the formula is summation Pn Qn over summation P naught Qn multiplied by 100. In Ppsc's formula, current year quantities are used as weights. A very important question of the paper as well as interview. Which index number help to government to make price policies to control the prices? CPI, consumer price index numbers. Then CPI is retail price index number. As I told you, index numbers have no unit. A very important question. If the price of the current year has rupees units, price of the old year has rupees units, what do we do in index numbers? Pn over P naught multiplied by 100. It will be rupees over rupees multiplied by 100. These will be cancelled. Kilogram over kilogram multiplied by 100. These will be cancelled. Index numbers has no unit. It measures the relative change. All are very important questions. Next question is, index numbers are also called economic barometers. Economic barometers and sign and guidepost. Next question is, index number tell us about inflation as well as deflation. Index number measure relative change. Most commonly used index number is price index numbers and weighted index numbers also. If the question is most commonly used, weighted index number can also be. The first step in index number is purpose of the index number. Why do we want to prepare? Why do we want to make index numbers? What is our purpose? That is the important question. And P1 naught is the index number. P is the index number for what? For actually this much. For node on 1. Very important concept. Actually, the first one is always the base period, which is this much, and the second one is the current year. We want to calculate the index number for the second one, for the node, with the help of the base, which is the first one. A very important one. If I just write P32, it means that I am calculating for 2 on the base of 3. In index numbers we have formula error, we have sampling error, we have homogeneity error, we have error in the collection of data. And what is sampling error in index numbers? In index numbers, sampling error is the difference between the values of the items, the sample values, and the total household items. The difference will be the difference between the index number of the selected items and the total items will be the sampling error, a very important one. And sampling error can be reduced by two methods. If we increase the things, increase the household items, and if we take the second one is that if we take the random sample, then sampling error will be reduced. Next question is CPI is always calculated for well-defined section of society. Next is weights play an important role in index numbers. Weights are very important in index numbers because as I told you, all the commodities do not have equal importance. Oil and salt do not have equal importance in our home. That's why we use the weights actually. Geometric mean has no bias. Next is aggregative price index number is suitable when all the items have same units. I have discussed. Next is when two different index numbers with two different bases are joined with one common base, that is called splicing. If new series is connected with the old one, it is called forward splicing. If the old series is connected with the new one, it is called backward splicing. Next is scaling factor. What is the meaning of scaling factor in index numbers? Scaling factor means change the base. A very important one. Change the base means scaling factor. Next question is very important. For example, the answer of index number is 117. As I told you, it has two meanings. A very important question for the written test as well as interview. One meaning is that there is an increase of 17% in the price or quantity of the new year as compared to the old year. The second meaning is that, for example, the price was 100 for the base period. Now for the new year, for the current year, it is 117. There are these two meanings of this much. Next one is if the unit of measurement of items changes, the value of index number remains the same. It is not affected by the change of the unit of measurement. A very important question. Next question is if index number is independent of unit of measurement. Rupees over rupees cancel, you will cancel them and it will be no unit. It satisfies the unit test, not the time reversal, not the factor reversal, not the circular. It satisfies the unit test. Next is simple index number. As I told you in the beginning of the lecture, it is calculated for one variable. It is also called univariable. Univariable index numbers. Univariable index numbers and composite index numbers can also be multivariable index numbers, two or more variables. As I told you, there was an important question. Most commonly used index number is price index numbers. Now the question is most frequently used index number formula, that is weighted formula. Next is who was Ppsc? Ppsc was a German statistician. And he introduced that index number in 1874. Marshall index number lies between, a very important question. Marshall index number lies between Laspierre and Ppsc, and I will give you one more important question with the help of this much. You should not be confused in the exam. For example, Laspierre index number is given 118.5 and Ppsc is given 127.5, and for Marshall they can ask, there are four options and the option which will lie between them, for example 121.75, that will be the correct one. Marshall index number always lies between Laspierre and Ppsc index numbers. Dear students, if I say Laspierre index number plus Ppsc over 2, it is called Dorbish-Bowley's index number. Bowley's index number. and the question can be asked, it is the average, it is the arithmetic mean of Laspierre and Pasquier index number, that is Bowles index number. And next question is Calais price index number is also known as fixed weight method. In Calais index number, which satisfies circular test, as I told you, time reversal is satisfied by Marshall and Fisher, factor is satisfied by Fisher only, circular test is satisfied by Calais index number. In Calais index number, weights are fixed. It is also called fixed weight method. Next question is, a good index number is the one which satisfies time reversal test, factor reversal test, as well as circular test. In factor reversal test, we change the weights. In time reversal, we change the base. In factor reversal, we change the weights. In circular test is satisfied by the Calais. Next is circular test is satisfied by a very important one. Circular test, as I told you, it is satisfied by Calais, and it is also satisfied by simple aggregative method. So you can just check by solving the question. Simple aggregative method, summation Pn over summation P naught multiplied by 100. Circular test is satisfied by, which is the extension of time reversal, by Calais, as well as simple aggregative method, a very important one. Next is, in circular test we shift the weights. Next, time reversal test was given by Fisher. Next, time reversal test is satisfied by time reversal. As we have discussed, time reversal is satisfied by number 1 Marshall, number 2 Fisher, and number 3 simple geometric mean. You can just check by solving simple geometric mean of price relatives. Next is, for CPI, the most suitable, a very important and technical question. CPI, which is also called cost of